Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to a very special edition of the Progressive Rock and Metal album review series. And today I am going to be taking a look at the very long and very impressive catalogue from one of the most legendary and iconic supergroups of all time, the one and only Asia, and this is part 3 of a special review to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the band. So in part 1 I talked about the catalogue of albums from 1981 to 1990, and in part 2 I talked about the catalogue of albums from 1991 to 2004. And today for part 3 I am going to be taking a look at the catalogue of albums from 2006 to 2012. So in 2006 we would see the reunion of the original and classic lineup of Asia with John Wetton, Geoff Downes, Steve Howe and Carl Palmer. But there was an attempt to do a reunion back in '99, but unfortunately it never happened. Steve Howe would withdraw from the reunion and Geoff Downes would remain in Asia with John Payne. So Asia ended up being Qango with John Wetton and Carl Palmer and John Young and Dave Kilminster. But the seeds for a Asia reunion would be planted when Geoff Downes played on a John Wetton solo album called Rock of Faith in 2003, and Geoff Downes guested on 2 tracks. And it was clear from the word go that the classic magic of Wetton and Downes was very much alive and well, and this would lead to a reunion with the 2 main songwriters of the band, and they would form a band called Icon, which was basically formed out of the John Wetton touring band with John Mitchell and Steve Christie, and also ELO's Hugh McDowell on cello. And it was clear that the classic magic of Asia was very much alive and well, and this would lead to the reformation of the classic lineup of Asia in 2006 with Steve Howe and Carl Palmer. So this was only meant to be a one-time thing. They would play a special show in Japan, and they would release a double live album called Live in Tokyo Fantasia, and that would be it. Or so we thought. Much to the surprise and shock of everyone, Asia would not only remain together, but they would go in the studio to record a brand new album, which would mark the first time since 1983 that the original classic lineup of Asia were back together making a brand new album. And this was a huge deal because not only was there unfinished business between these 4 legends, but it was such a pleasant surprise to see these guys working together, playing together in the 21st century, and expectations were very high and they delivered in a big way. So the reunion of Asia would last for 3 albums and a couple of live albums and some DVDs as well, and I got to see the original Asia a couple of times, once at High Voltage and a few other times in 2010 as well. But what a special time to be a prog fan, to see all the original guys back together. It was really special, that's all I can say. So today I'm going to be taking a look at all 3 albums, which is what they did in their reunion, and as always I am going to be talking about each album individually, and I'll be choosing which one I think is the best one. Very tough to choose because all 3 of these albums were really well produced, well written, and some damn good music. And you know, you could see that old magic and chemistry hadn't left. I would say Asia were a much more mature and grown-up band. You know, all 4 seasoned veterans, and so to bring them back together was really, really good. So we're going to start with the first album of this reunion, which came out in 2008, and this is Phoenix. So, first album since 1983 with the original lineup of the band, and it delivers big time. Very, very strong. Lots of great songs. Steve Howe back in the fold. Lots of great guitar playing. Lots of great drumming from Carl Palmer. John Wetton has never sounded better than he does here, both vocally and musically. And Geoff Downes, you know, he's just amazing as always on the keyboards with great backing harmonies as well. So this was a very special time to be an Asia fan, and Phoenix really delivered. So we're going to have a quick look, if you can see there. See that? You've got the classic eyes back there as well. So all of the compositions would be written and composed by Wetton and Downes, with a couple of contributions from Steve Howe, and we've got a cover version from Feynman and Percy. So very good, strong album this is, and this was very clear that Asia was not only alive and well, but back and better than ever. And there they are. Got the old classic Roger Dean artwork back as well. And there's Geoff Downes. And Steve Howe. Carl Palmer. And the man himself, John Wetton. So very good, strong album. Really takes things to the next level, I would say. As I said, a much more mature, sophisticated sound than the first two albums, but great to have these guys back. And you know, it's really nice to know that we had a brand new Asia album in the 21st century. And you know, we just all thought that it would never happen. You know, we never thought we'd sit there and say, you know what, I'd love to see a new Asia album in the modern era, and everyone would just say, well, that's never going to happen. You know, never say never, and it happened. Unbelievable. So we got Never Again, great strong opener, very closer to Heat of the Moment, Nothing's Forever, Heroin, Sleeping Giant, No Way Back reprise, Alibis, I Will Remember You, Shadow of a Doubt, Parallel Worlds / Vortex / Dia, Wish I'd Known All Along, Orchid of Minds, Over and Over, An Extraordinary Life, and we've got a bonus track which is like an acoustic remix called An Extraordinary Life. It's a really good album, some great songs here. Steve Howe's just on fire, Wetton's just blowing on all cylinders on bass and vocals, Geoff Downes is just blazing on the keyboards, and Carl Palmer, he's just a beast on the drum kit as always. So the standout tracks for me are Never Again, I Will Remember You, Parallel Worlds / Vortex and Dia, Orchid of Minds, which is actually a cover version of the band Orbis, which is very, very epic. An Extraordinary Life, love that song. You know, what more can you say, really? This is some of Asia's best work, their best playing, and their best writing, and they have never sounded better. And you know what? Even though we had to wait a long time for the reunion, it was well worth the wait because we got this. So there you have it. Phoenix from 2008. Doesn't disappoint. Excellent stuff. So, in between live albums and DVDs, we would be very surprised we would get another album from this reunion, because we all thought Phoenix would just be a one and done deal, but very glad and happy to know that wasn't the case. So we would get another follow-up, and this is 2010's Omega. Could very well be the best Asia album of the trilogy. Really good. So these guys remain together, and the chemistry is very, very strong. The musicianship is very, very tight, and they just sound unbelievable as a unit. So great stuff here. There's some really good songs on here. You can see that. I like the drawings there as well. And there they are. There's Geoff Downes. There's Steve Howe. Hey Carl, I can see you. And there's the man, John Wetton. Love it. Look at that. Beautiful artwork. And there's some credits as well. Excellent stuff. So all of the compositions would be written and composed by Wetton and Downes with all Wetton and Downes compositions. Steve Howe sounds incredible on guitars as always. Carl Palmer's just blown on all cylinders on the drums. John Wetton really starts to hit his stride as a singer and as a bass player, and Geoff Downes, as always, blown on all cylinders on the keyboards. And I would probably say, for John Wetton in particular, I think with his singing voice, he just got better and better. You know, most singers, when they reach a certain age, their vocals are not quite up to the level they were before, but I think John Wetton just got better as a singer. You know, he was still able to hit those high notes, all those signature vocal lines from the 70s and onwards. And to me, John Wetton just never lost a step or a beat. He just continued to get better and better and just kept pushing himself higher and higher. You know, he just really sounded great. And I think out of all of the bands John Wetton has played in his long career, and he's played in a lot of them, I think he was really at his best with these guys, with Asia. He just sounded absolutely fantastic. So we got Finger on the Trigger from Icon 2, Through My Veins, Holy War, Ever Yours, Listen Children, End of the World, Light the Way, a bonus track, Emily, I'm Still the Same, There Was a Time, I Believe, Don't Want to Lose You Now. It's a really good collection of songs, and this is actually my dad's favourite Asia album of the Reformation. Really good album, this is. So the standout tracks for me are Finger on the Trigger, Through My Veins, Holy War, End of the World, There Was a Time, I Believe, Don't Want to Lose You Now. But this is a really good, strong album. So, you know, you had Phoenix, great comeback album, basically saying we're back and better than ever. And this was just like a continuation of that. So this is more or less like a sequel. So, yep, we're here and we're just doing what we do best, and that's make great music. And this is great stuff indeed. So there you have it, 2010's Omega. Excellent. So this will bring us to the third and final album, which came out in 2012, and this is Triple X. So at the time this album came out, this was the 30th anniversary of the band, and this would mark the final recording with the original and classic lineup of Asia, as Steve Howe would leave the band shortly after. We'll talk about that in a moment. But to me, this is a fitting and final chapter of the reunion of the original and classic lineup of Asia, and they go out with a real bang here. So we've still got the original band intact. We've got Geoff Downes on keyboards, John Wetton on bass and vocals, Carl Palmer on drums, and Steve Howe on guitars. So we've got Tomorrow of the World, Bury Me in Willow, No Religion, Faithful, I Know How You Feel, Face on the Bridge, Al Giotto Nero, Judas, and we've got two bonus tracks, Reno, Silver and Gold, and I Know How You Feel Midnight Mix, and the last track we've got here is Ghost of a Chance. So it's a very good, strong album here. You know, when Asia got back together, they became like a much more tighter and sophisticated unit. Seasoned veterans, been there, done it all, and seen it all. And when they got back together, you could definitely tell that the music had grown up a lot. So this album of the trilogy was definitely the most laid back, but at the same time still rooted in the prog roots of all four of these guys' background. And there's some great songs here. I think, you know, these guys never sounded better than they do here. They really started to hit their peak creatively and musically and personally and professionally. You know, you could see the camaraderie between these four guys, and the bond that these four legends had was stronger than ever, and it really showed, and you could hear it in the music. So all of the compositions would be written and composed by Wetton and Downes, with a couple of contributions from Steve Howe. But by and large, this is all Wetton and Downes compositions, and there's one track here that was written by Steve Howe and John Wetton. So there are the lyrics. I like that the dragon it's kind of like a homage to the first album. So I kind of like that. So I thought that's pretty cool. There we are. Nice. So the standout tracks for me, I would say, are Tomorrow of a World, Faithful, Face on the Bridge, which has just got this beautiful piano intro, goes do 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 do. It's really, really beautiful. And I Know How You Feel Midnight Mix, which is more like a duo track with Wetton and Downes, with John Wetton just singing and Geoff Downes providing all these atmospheric keyboard sounds, and there's a little bit of acoustic guitar at the end with Steve Howe. It's just a really gorgeous track, and I've heard him play this live. It just sounded unbelievable. Just Wetton singing, no bass, just him and his voice, and Geoff Downes providing the orchestral background on the keyboards. It's just really, really lovely song this is. But the whole album's good, but those are the standout tracks for me. So there you have it. Triple X, the third and final album of the original classic lineup of Asia. So Steve Howe would leave shortly after, not on bad terms, thankfully. He more or less left to concentrate on his solo projects and, of course, with Yes, because at one point Steve Howe was in Asia and Yes at the same time and doing his solo stuff as well. So eventually a decision was made, and the decision was made that Steve Howe would leave the band. But I'm really happy that we got these guys back together. Lots of great live albums, lots of great live shows, some cool DVDs, and 3 outstanding albums. What a nice trilogy, and I'm really glad that we got to see the original Asia reunite in the 21st century. You know, very special time. So, which do I think is the best album of the 3? They're all good. That is the trouble. Very, very hard to choose. My dad's favourite is, of course, Omega, but if I had to choose my favourite album, I would probably go with Triple X. It's probably as my favourite Asia album. Probably the best one as well. Omega, that was more of the band at their peak, but I just like this album a lot because it really showed you how much these guys had grown together, not only as a band, but as musicians as well, and it really shows in the music. And to me, this was a real fitting chapter for the band and a real high note for them to go out on. So nothing to be ashamed of here. This was absolutely outstanding. All of the songs, the production was just top notch. So Triple X for me is my favourite album of the trilogy of the reunion of Asia. Love this album, but all of them are great. There's no bad album here, but Triple X for me is my favourite. And with Steve Howe no longer in the band, John Wetton, Geoff Downes and Carl Palmer would not only continue as Asia, but they would also welcome young guitarist Sam Colson into the band as the newest member of Asia, and they would go on to record a brand new studio album, which is going to be talked about in part 4 of this special 40th anniversary review of Asia. But there you have it, the catalogue of albums from 2006 to 2012, 3 amazing studio albums and a bucket's load of live CDs and DVDs. Excellent stuff. Absolutely enjoyed the reunion and very proud that I got to see the classic lineup of Asia quite a few times, so very proud of that. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite album from this trilogy? Is it Phoenix, is it Omega, or is it Triple X? There is no right or wrong answer. We all have our favourite albums. You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will be back for the 4th and final part of this Asia 40th anniversary review special where I am going to be taking a look at the final album from 2013 to 2014. So make sure you don't miss that. So until next time, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, thanks for listening.